What's going on, guys? So today we're talking about a SOG knife, SOG, that's what people know them as, SOG, right? But what does SOG stand for? Studies and Observations Group, which they very much want people to know these days. They're putting it on a lot of their newer knives. This one is the Ultra XR. I got a few different XR models when they were released. I've been using them on and off. This is one I focused on initially and started using. Really cool knife. Something completely different. This is what you'd consider as an ultralight. This thing weighs 1.2 ounces. It's nothing. It's ridiculous. Before I even get into this knife, I want to talk about, knife companies in general, right? So, why don't I have my hands on the table? So I'm giving you a visual illustration of what I'm talking about here. Knife companies kind of go on one path, right? And every now and again, like you can expect what you're going to get, right? Spydercos, they all have kind of the same feel. Benchmades have kind of the same feel. Kershaws have the same feel. And they're all kind of on this direct path. Every now and again, a company will come out with a knife that veers off the path, right? It's just like, this is what you're used to from this company. Whoa, what's that? What are they doing over here, right? SOG has done a 180, spun around, did a little ballerina move, and they came out with the XR line, and it is stuff that is completely new. It really is new. They basically stuck with a couple, basic blade designs, and revamped them completely. So like, let's say the Pentagon, for example. The Pentagon is, one of their very steady knife models, and they made the Pentagon XR. It's totally different than the original Pentagon. This knife is the first example in the XR series that's just totally different. I have to say I'm very impressed overall, because even though they have the same, type model names like the Pentagon, and the Trident and stuff, these XR line models are completely different spin-offs of the original knives. They're nothing like them. And as I do more of these videos in the future, as I use more of these knives, you'll see that. But the first one I definitely wanted to focus on was this Ultra XR. Now, first off, this is the box. I did save the packaging to show you this. It is completely different, this XR line. All right, so these are presented, open to you. Imagine that was press fit in there. All right, I'll save the box because it has all the information on the outside too, which makes this a little easier. Now, in the back, we have some specs here. Of course, the entire XR line is referring to their locking mechanism, okay? Where we have this, slide lock. It's ambidextrous. You can use both fingers or one side or whatever. And that is our lock. That's the one thing that all the knives in the XR line have in common. But if you look on the bottom of the box here, you can see all the specs. You could pause there and read all that stuff. But the most noteworthy is this is 1.2 ounces. That is ridiculously light. So like I said, considered an ultralight knife. Now, of course, this one has the gold blade and pocket clip. This particular model is sold out a lot of places online, but you can still find the silver one. All right, if you don't like the gold, they definitely do a silver version of it. But yeah, 1.2 ounces, and that is because this is basically a blade, some hardware, and some carbon fiber slabs. All right, this comes in lighter than the Benchmade bug out. It comes in lighter than the mini bug out, which people already thought was too light. So this is a very important point I want to make, is that this is filling a specific niche. Okay, this is not going to replace your regular EDC knife that you use hard all the time, although you could probably use this very hard. I have not babied this at all. The one thing people didn't like about the bug out is that the handle's flexed. This also flexes. These are just carbon fiber scales, okay? They're not lined with metal, no aluminum or stainless steel or anything there. It's just carbon fiber, and the reason for that is to keep it as light as possible, because that is its purpose, to be an ultralight, not just pretty light or super light. I mean ultralight. I don't know if you could do a knife that's lighter than this in this size. I don't know what else you would use that still has the durability and the strength. Okay, again, even though I can flex these, once they touch together, I mean, it has nowhere else to go. It's not going to snap or break very easily at all. In fact, if I really tried to break this, I don't know if I could. I really don't know. It might kink a little or bend a little, but that's not under, what you consider normal use of a knife, right? The blade on this is a CPM-S35VN, all right, which is absolutely fantastic. This thing cuts like a razor blade. If you look at the markings on the front here, you see instead of SOG logo, they have Studies and Observations Group, which again, they're very much pushing here. That is their name. All right, CPM-S35VN, Ultra XR. Nothing on the reverse. The only logo here is right there. All right, I know SOG, sometimes people make fun of them or poke fun a little bit because a lot of their older knives, they would have their logo all over the place. It would be on the pocket clip and on the blade, and you know, the grip texture would say SOG on it. They, like I said, went in a completely opposite direction with this knife. The XR lock works very well. There's no blade play in any direction. You can use it just like an axis lock if you want to, you know, flip the knife closed or flip it open. You can certainly do so. You can open it with the slot very slowly if you wanted to. The big old pocket clip on the back. Some people said, hey, this pocket clip is ugly. Why is it so big? Well, the secondary purpose of this is to be a money clip. This is a money clip knife, all right? So you can slip your money in there. If this is your thing, you like money clip knives, there you go. Super thin, super ultra lightweight, right? Slip in the pocket and you're good to go. If you're like me and you only have $20 or only have one bill, fold that in half again, that would make me feel a little bit better, having it like that, so it's not so floppy. But yeah, I mean, that's the secondary purpose of this, all right? It is deep conceal, technically, if you're just clipping it to the pocket, but the point of having this style of pocket clip and having such a large loop, all right, and you can see it is very flexible too, all right? It's not going to easily bend out. You can put a big old wad of cash if you're a bowler or you carry 51s, who knows. But yeah, that is why the pocket clip style is what it is, because I've had multiple comments. I posted this on Instagram. People are like, oh, it's really cool. What's with that pocket clip? Why is it so big? It's ugly. Well, that serves its purpose. Also, they recommend that if you want to take the pocket clip off, you can put this whole knife in your wallet, all right? Because it's so thin, it'll fit in you know, a lot of different wallet styles, of course, depending on what kind of wallet you have. But if you have like a bifold and you have those, you know, back pockets, if you know what I'm talking about, like your wallet's like this, right? And it opens up, or excuse me, it opens up like this, and then you have the back pockets behind your credit cards, you know, they're on either side. That style wallet, this would slip in very nicely. So yeah, here's a closer look of it. Actually, let me zoom in, get you a better detail shot. You can see the hardware here. I do like the kind of spiral pattern on the hardware. Very simple knife. Like I said, you have your two screws here for the pocket clip itself. You have two body screws, or I should say 4 body screws altogether. All right, then our pivot screw and our lock. Really simple, super, super thin. That's the whole point, is to be as minimal as possible. All right, some people will absolutely love this, some people will hate it. In using this, there is a little jimping on the back. It's somewhat purposeful. It's not like super aggressive or anything, but you definitely feel it. Your thumb's not going to slip because it's there. It's not just decorative, all right? It is, you know, pretty functional as far as jimping goes. I told you before I could care less if a knife has jimping. However, I have to say, as the years pass, certain knife designs, I kind of like it. I kind of prefer it. You know, I used to not care at all. I used to be like, I don't care, because the whole concept is that jimping keeps your hand in place, but if your thumb slips, like, where's it going, you know? I don't see like a problem. If I'm really cutting into something and my thumb slips, which it's never had, by the way, on any knife ever, but let's say it does slip, well, cut yourself or anything. But I get it. Some people like the way it feels, so you know, it is what it is. But I'll just say jimping in general has grown on me a little bit. I used to not care about it. Now it's kind of like, it's nice in some cases. All right, so let's talk about price here for a second, which is always the most important thing, right? You find a cool knife, you're like, it's cool, I'm gonna get one. Whoa, what does it cost? And then you don't get it, or maybe you do. This one comes in at $125, and before you comment, I'm gonna say it's worth it. For one very specific reason. This is a niche knife. I don't know of any other knives that are quite like this. There are plenty of other like ultralight EDC options out there, but this fits a different purpose, in my opinion, than a lot of the other stuff. Even the bug out. When I first got this, I was kind of comparing it, you know, to the Benchmade bug out, or now the mini bug out, which would be closer to this, I guess. You know, but it's not quite the same knife. You know, it really isn't. This does offer some other things in that you can use it as a money clip knife. Although technically, I guess you can use any pocket knife that has a pocket clip as a money clip. But this is just, I mean, it had a specific goal. That's the whole point. You can't compare this to other knives. It's not like this is going to be a better, quote, better EDC knife than what's in your pocket right now. I'll leave you guys with this. Here's a little challenge, okay? I want to know what competition this knife has, because I personally can't think of any knife that directly competes with it. So this has a 2.8-inch blade. So show me a knife online, okay, that has a blade at least 2.5 inches or longer, all right, that weighs 1.2 ounces or lighter, that has CPM-S35VN for blade steel, that's going to cost less than $125. Because I don't know it specifically of any knife that's like that. I know of lighter knives that have cheaper blade steels. Obviously, the price would be cheaper. But there's nothing out there that's quite like this. I think that's why this gained popularity. Now, as far as like the gold, you know, I could take it or leave it. I think it's cool because it's different. These obviously sold out right away, but the silver ones are just as cool, in my opinion. So the gold's not your thing. Like I said, they do offer the silver. But again, this is just offering something that's just not out there. You know, it's a niche knife. And I'm glad that they came out with this, because this is now the foundation for a higher end. I'll use quotes there because that's subjective. Some people might think, you know, something with D2 is higher end, or something that's $50 is higher end. So, I mean, who's to say what's higher end, right? But what I'm saying is that I don't know of any other knife that really compares to this. So it's hard to say like, oh, that's a little expensive for what it is. Or, hey, that's a great deal because other knives like it are more expensive, you know? So anyway, there's my opinions on the Ultra XR from SOG, or Studies and Observations Group. I think this is a niche knife. I think it's really cool. It's fitting a very specific purpose that not a lot of other knives can really fulfill. But I'd love to know if you guys have one of these, or if you're interested in one of these. Why? What's your reason? The biggest sell here, I mean, yeah, it has nice steel and everything, and you know, it's pretty comfortable, but the biggest thing for me, obviously, is the ultra lightweight. That's what this knife is offering. It might lack the overall durability as other EDC knives. It might lack, you know, comfort. It's comfortable enough to use. I've had no problems with it so far, but it is thin. If you really grip down, obviously, the thin, you know, scales here, they're not sharp by any means. I should have mentioned that before. Cutting a lot of cardboard with this, that's mostly what I'm doing with testing and stuff. Sometimes some paracord, sometimes some plastic jugs, just depends. But I had no problem with the comfort overall. It's just because it's thin, it's not going to be the most comfortable. So not the most comfortable, not the most durable, not the cheapest knife, but that's not the point. The point was to fulfill a very specific purpose, and I think this knife does that very well. And like I said, I think this would be fantastic. I would recommend this to people because it's not very often someone will send me a message like, hey, I want a knife that weighs nothing. You know, I'm a backpacker and I have like a 25-ounce setup, and I you know, I hike thousands of miles and I need a super, super, super lightweight knife. I don't really get those questions very often. I've gotten similar type questions, but not that extreme. But if anyone came to me and said, hey, what's the lightest knife that works well? Right here, this is it. This is the lightest knife that I know of that works very well. I'll leave it at that. So anyway, of course, post your comments, your thoughts, your opinions down below. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Appreciate you taking time out of your day to watch my videos. So I thank you for that, and I hope you have a great day. And I'll see you tomorrow with a brand new video. Take care.